Lindy. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Especially good afternoon to our representative from the Israel Trade Office, from the Export Office, as well as our speakers representing different organizations, institutions from Israeli tech companies. And then, of course, also good afternoon to our listeners from South Africa and beyond. And these being in the agro industry as well as beyond in the rest of the agricultural sector as well. So thank you very much for the Israel Trade Office for organizing this event. I'm Lindy Strubel, Country Manager for South Africa, in South Africa for Mission Produce. And from my end, thanks, it's an honor to assist in this moderating this session. So today we are talking about technology developments in Israel companies. For South Africans, for the South African industries, of course. Now, the survival, progress, and success of the agri-sector, as well as for us, shortly being part of 9 billion other people on Earth, depends on tech. Homo sapiens, as we know them, progressed and moved to the Middle East 70,000 years ago. For 50,000 years thereafter, our ancestors flourished without agriculture. Roughly 18,000 years ago, after the last ice age, in fact, it became warmer and wetter, ideal for wheat and grain production in the Middle East. Then the motivation to start picking up tools and start tilling was motivated by our need to eat. However, then, compared to now, our need to eat is the same. The difference is just we are now 9 billion people, or well, almost 9 billion people. And the need for us to produce, distribute, and consume optimally, yet preserving our resource while doing so, has become solely dependent on technology advances in all its different forms. And leading in this space are certainly Israelis. Having said that, thank you very much, Amit and Federico. I'm handing over to you to introduce yourselves and your institutions and welcome the audience.
Thank you, Lindy. And I would like to thank you all for joining us today. My name is Amit Lev. I'm the head of the Israeli Trade Mission. And usually when the Israeli Trade Mission, when we do an event around agriculture, it's always the big South Africa landscape with niche technologies, but actually in avocados, there are more producer avocados. In Israel, are producing more avocado than South Africa at the moment. And I emphasize at the moment because, it's very, I think you can see the character of Israel that they identify this trend about superfood. And then everyone is growing avocados, but at the same time in South Africa, it might take more time, but eventually because of the landscape, because of the magnitude, because of the company, because of the needs and the technology and the knowledge of South African farmers, I'm sure we'll see a bigger landscape and more avocados coming from this country. The Israeli Trade Mission is part of the Ministry of Economy and Industry. We are providing connections and exposure and knowledge and B2B sessions with South African companies who are looking for, to connect with Israeli technologies, and also Israeli technologies who are looking to connect with South African end user, integrator, and distributors. This was a joint effort from also the trade missions in Kenya and Ghana. And I would like to thank, first of all, Charmaine Hirschowitz, who's leading the agri sector in the trade mission. Thank you very much for that, for arranging all this event. Federico from the Export Institute, that I'm sure is just the first event, but we will do a lot of in the near future. Lindy, always a pleasure to work with you. And the guys from Vetling for arranging all the technical stuff around this webinar. Wish you a good discussions and a fruitful engagement topics. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Charmaine and Lindy, for the organization of this great event. So, as Amit told you, we actually in Israel have one of the best technologies in the field because, half of the country is actually a desert and the other half have not so much water. So Israel actually one of the countries that knows how to develop those kind of technologies, and we're actually very proud of it. Not only in the agrotech sector, of course, and other sectors as well. So my name is Federico. I'm from the Export Institute, and we are actually helping Israeli companies to provide and bring them more opportunities to present the technologies all over the world. So this is a great opportunity to our companies to present technologies for the avocado field. And thank you very much to all, and really appreciate your time. And good luck to all, and thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Amit, and thank you, Federico, for your support, and also for everything that you're doing to enable this business-to-business opportunities. And then also thank you to Charmaine behind the scenes, who arranged the webinar and asked me to moderate this session. So, and as mentioned before, I'm Lindy Strubel. I'm the country manager for Mission Produce here in South Africa. And just to share a little bit with you who we are, I'm just going to share my screen. Are we good with my screen? Okay. So Mission is a global leader in distributing and growing avocados in the world. With, as you can see there, 3 sales offices across the globe, 9 premier origins, and ripening centers across the world as well, which is enabling us to bring the best and the finest avocados to consumers and clients right across the world. So besides for the roughly 11,000 acres that we grow avocados on ourselves, we also source from across the world. And there you can see how we enable our year-round supply to clients right across the world, sourcing from across the world. And Amit, to your reference of Israel's production, you will also see we've got some good relations with the Israeli growers there, and also sourcing from Israel itself. And in South Africa, we have only quite recently established the Mission footprint in South Africa, working closely with 2 partners, ZZ2, probably the most reputable and progressive growers in South Africa, beyond avocados, of course, and tomatoes, of course, and then also Core Fruit. Core Fruit is the biggest fruit exporters out of South Africa. So with these partners, Mission is establishing in South Africa, and we have the objective to grow. And South Africa is also a premier, considered a premier origin. So it fits in very well with the Mission objective to broaden our supply base. Just in a sense, in the context of today, Mission is a strong believer of applying and utilizing good tech for the purpose, especially on sustainable practices. And here's just a slide to share a little bit of information that we captured in our most recently released ESG, Environmental Social Governance report. And most of these progress is also linked to tech development. The initiative to find alternatives to plastic, for us to extend shelf life and thereby reduce waste, for us to produce more with less, and in our intent, you'd see that our precision and biodiverse farming methods use 40% less irrigation water per avocado compared to the average. And then further on, you can see there how some of our facilities are utilizing solar energy. And we can go on. These are just a few examples of all the tech applications that made the difference in Mission's business practice. Mission is also known for the original ripe avocado. And with that, you can imagine the background and the support that Mission provided for tech development and in that space. And then the post-harvest solutions, working there with Hazel Technologies, is a solution that we offer mostly in America, South and North America, on extending shelf life for the products. And then also on the efficient marketing and distribution, you need very good intelligence management, data management, the big data as we all refer to it. And one of the examples where Mission apply that is also to see our avocado intel, as we mentioned, to optimally market our products. So as you can see, that was just briefly who I represent and work for. But as you can see, Mission is serious about avocados. Mission is serious about quality. Mission is also serious about the new venture for avocado production and distribution out of South Africa, and also very serious about sustainability. And for all of this, we are effectively also serious about technology. Hence my support also for this webinar and my involvement, and to elaborate on this topic and to bring this information to you. But enough about me. I want to put this over to our guests from Israel, and for some input from Ari Dembo from the Galilee International Management Institute. Ari, please come in here, introduce yourself and tell us more about your institute and what you do, please.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Lindy. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Charmaine. It's welcome. It's wonderful to be here. Good afternoon. Sawubona, Molo Kunjani, Goeiemiddag, and we even have somebody from Kenya. So hujambo to you in Kenya.
That is indeed impressive. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, it's the Rainbow Nation, right? So my name is Ari Dembo, and I'm representing the Galilee Institute, International Management Institute. I am the International Development and Cooperation Manager for South Africa. And it's an honor to be here, and it's wonderful to be among all you people. Wow, we have quite a lot of people that have joined us today. If you won't mind, I'll just kick it off into my presentation, and we can take it from there. So we at the Galilee International Management Institute, we've put together a program, a capacity building program, especially for the avocado and avocado producers. I'd like to talk about what we're going to discuss today, an introduction to the Galilee International Management Institute, go over why Israel, why is Israel so special, what is Israel, how can Israel contribute, our avocado program, of course, and right at the end, contact us and registration for what is going to happen, hopefully in a couple of weeks from now. So we're all very, very excited about that. The Galilee International Management Institute was established by Dr. Joseph Shevel back in 1987. It's been going for over 33 years. We specialize in capacity building, in education, train the trainer. We are active since 1987 in over 100 countries. We have 25,000 senior graduates and alumni. The beauty about what we offer, the training that we offer, train the trainer, the projects that we do all over Africa and in a lot of the other countries around the world is to share knowledge. It's to share knowledge so the people who participate in our programs, hopefully they can gain some knowledge, learn something, and take it back to their country and implement whatever we have to offer in their home country. This was the goal of the Galilee International Institute, and especially for agriculture. We created a Center for Agriculture, Environment, and Water. Why is this so important, and why is this so important to Israel? Israel has always faced challenges as far as natural resources lack of and climate. How did Israel succeed? We'll go into that very, very briefly, but Israel has succeeded because it has invested and concentrated its efforts into its human capital, into people. And throughout the 70 odd years that we've been around as a state, and even beyond the state, we've consciously tried to pass on all the lessons that we've learned to the rest of the world out there. Very, very soon, Oh, right at the beginning, it was very simple. To solve Israel's problems, to solve Israel's issues, education was the key. Education, very important man said this, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Of course, a lot of you online know where this saying came from. Nelson Mandela coined the phrase, and he's absolutely correct. The Galilee Management Institute, besides agriculture, we have a lot of other centers that we specialize in capacity building in a lot of different areas, from strategic studies, security, higher education, health management, and we also have advanced degree programs and PhD that we are offering today. We're located right down there at the bottom of the screen. You see a settlement that looks like a circle. That is where we are. That is in the Jezreel Valley. And it's actually very exciting to come to work. I get surrounded, I come to work and I'm surrounded by all these wonderful fields. Israel, located in the Middle East, home to 9 million people. In the beginning, essentially, that's what you saw. That's what Israel was like in the beginning. As Federico mentioned, 50% of Israel is desert. And right at the beginning, this is what the pioneers had to deal with, that kind of landscape. And today, we're proud that we can offer this kind of landscape instead of the one that you got to see above. So how did we do this? Very simple. The key to unlocking the secrets of agricultural success and success in Israel has always been education. Spending money, investing in education, investing in people. The Israel today, we're home to 12 Nobel Prize winners. We're #1 in the world as far as unicorns per capita, and those are startups. High-tech startups valued over $1 billion USD. Major companies around the world, Apple, Google, Intel, Microsoft, they all have research and development offices in Israel. And the question is why? Why? Because Israel perfected the idea of educating, experimenting, and innovating. That is how Israel has managed to succeed. And today we're looking at a $400 billion economy. Israel, little Israel, takes you 7 hours to go from north to south by car, $400 billion larger than all of our immediate neighbors combined. Israel technology, Israel's research and development, Israel's innovation has made the deserts bloom. We have a huge agricultural area down in the Negev desert, where we're growing anything from cherry tomatoes to avocados. Aquaculture is happening in the desert. Yes, 5 hours away from the ocean, aquaculture is thriving in the Negev desert. So, Israel has made huge strides and really has become a leader in agriculture R&D, and especially today, agriculture high tech. Limited resources. Israel has succeeded beyond anybody's dreams, and the goal obviously is to convey that knowledge and pass on that knowledge, which we've been doing here at the Galilee Institute, and there are many other institutions in Israel that are cooperating and sharing the fruits, excuse the pun, the fruits of these labors with the rest of the world, especially the developing countries. And South Africa, it's a great pleasure to be at the Galilee Institute and dealing with South Africa. Yes, I am a child of Africa, as I'm sure you have heard by the accent, and it gives me great pride to be able to work closely with institutions, people, NGOs, organizations in South Africa, and try and bring our programs to South Africa because we have so much to offer. But so let's get to it. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. What are we offering here? We have created, based on the world infatuation and the love of the avocado, the superfruit and the superfood, as everybody is referring it to these days. Israel has taken the avocado, like most other fruits and flowers and elements of produce, have taken it, looked at it, experimented, poured research and development into this particular fruit, and basically, trying to answer the question, how can we take this? How can we do it better? How can we make this profitable? how can we take the fruit and maximize its potential as far as growing, as far as sustainability, and as far as marketing. The course that we're going to offer has 14 hours of instruction with Israeli experts. We're lucky enough at the Galilee Institute to have over 700 innovators and lecturers and educators, so we can draw on a huge brains trust as far as creating courses that we can implement and we can offer institutions, ministries, and so forth. The curriculum is innovative. The curriculum hits a lot of high points, from new varietals, techniques in irrigation, techniques in packaging, disease prevention, and most important, we're looking at food security. As we all know, being in the agricultural world, food security and food loss prevention is a big issue. Currently we're talking about numbers that are running in 30%. If we can drop that loss prevention down, it just adds to the bottom line, which is also a component of the course that we're going to be offering. The course is open, obviously, to anybody who wants to benefit from the curriculum that we're offering. On screen, just a couple of examples of who would benefit from this particular offering that we're hoping to give in a couple of weeks. And if you don't see your name there, it doesn't mean that you're not invited. You're definitely invited. Anybody who has an interest in avocados, anybody who has an interest in learning about the Israel tech, about the Israel innovation in agriculture, and learning a bit about the Israel way, about how we do things, absolutely invited. We would love to have you, and we would love it if you could participate. So registering, where do you register? The moderators, Lindy and Charmaine and Amit will make all these links available to you during the course of the presentation. You want to contact us, you need more information, want to hear about our other programs that we offer. If you're doing aquaculture, if you're doing water management and irrigation, international at galilcol.ac.il, or alternatively, you could visit us online. We'd love to have you. Give me a call. Love to chat with you at any time. WhatsApp me at any occasion. Thank you, everybody, and salagashle to everybody. And Lindy, back to you.
Thank you very much, Ari. This was a very good, comprehensive overview of all your offerings. Thank you for that. I like how you bring the context of people into the production and the technology development, etc. Somebody once said that it's not companies who sell food, it's people who sell food. And that's important to understand. And it's not farms where the food comes from. It's people who farm the food on those farms. And it's important for us to learn from the lessons that you just expressed of human capital development towards getting to the point of further technology development. I see a few points here on our chat screen, and I want to invite everybody on the Q&A to cite your questions there. And if you have points to make, please feel free to add them there. As per previously explained, also the PowerPoints, or asked rather, not explained, the PowerPoints will be available, and the website link is there. There's also a question of the courses being online. I know one of your slides did say there's 14 online courses, and it's not limited to only those 14, right, Ari?
Okay, thank you, Lindy, and great question. The course itself, the duration of the course, that entire course is 14 academic hours, all online. So no matter where you are, Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Kimberley, Gauteng, wherever you are, Jeffreys Bay, access a computer, log on, and you'll be able to participate. I mean, we're really excited. Mauritius, absolutely. Even if you're at Trobish or Canania Hotel, log on and join the course from wherever you are. We've made it accessible online. We've made it so that it incorporates all the elements of today, what the agricultural producers and the agricultural industry would need to know, and we're raring to go as far as that's concerned to offer it in South Africa. We're extremely excited.
Excellent. I think your second to last example from Jeffreys Bay sounds very appealing at this stage. We don't have any avo production there yet, but let's see. But at least we can study from there then. So Ari, thanks a lot again from the Galilee International Management Institute.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. With that, I want to take us over to our panelists and the companies and the tech offerings that we want to present to you and share with you, you being the companies and growers and local stakeholders who, to a large extent, will benefit from being exposed to this technology offering. And first of all, from CropX, let me just get my note here. Matan, are you ready for us to share with you the tech offering from CropX?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Give me just 1 second. I'll share my screen. Yes, you should be able to see my screen right now. Please confirm.
At the moment, not.
Sorry, my internet froze. Just 1 sec.
Matan, if you don't mind, if you can look into that, we will go to the
No,
next
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Are you
You
good?
should be able. Yes.
All right.
Sorry, my internet was down for 1
problem,
second. You should now be able to see my screen.
There we go. Thank you very much. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry about that internet connection issues, but I'm ready to go. So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Sorry, I don't know how to say that in South African language. Only English and Hebrew here. I don't have much time, so I'm going to dive right in. CropX is an agricultural analytics company. We were founded in Israel in 2015 with a sole vision to revolutionize and automate the farm and the decision-making process by mastering the insights of the soil. We have 50 employees, out of which 30 are in Israel and the rest are spread all over the world. Let's start with a little bit of background. Our product is a software with integrated hardware solution. The hardware is the soil sensor that you can see right here, and the software is the app available on iOS, Android, and web. We're the only solution that is based on a do-it-yourself approach, which means we don't need anyone technician to help the farmers. Farmers can self-install. It takes something like 2 minutes to get a sensor in the ground. We're a relatively mature agtech company with demonstrated product market fit, the technology, syndicate, market risks. These are all behind us. So really now our key focus is our continued growth via strategic partnerships and acquisitions. You're going to meet with a lot of companies who are all going to make very big promises, help growers grow more using less. So I'll start with how is our approach different than the rest. So when you look at the big companies who provide answers to the big questions, such as when, where, how much to irrigate and fertilize, still the vast majorities of the companies in the space focus on the above ground data, meaning satellite imagery, drones, cameras that you can mount on tractors and stuff like that. And almost no one bothers to get data from the soil, which is where agriculture really happens. The reason for this is because the above ground data is very easy to get, whereas the below ground data requires having hardware, which is very complicated and expensive. It takes for a startup years of pain to perfect the hardware, so no one wants to even get to that point. However, the above ground data, while it may be scalable and easy to obtain, it actually lacks the predictive and preventive value that the below ground data has. This is because by the time there are visible signs of stress that you could detect from an image that was taken from space, this means the damage has already been done, and there's going to be a guaranteed yield reduction. And the only way to really be able to be predictive and preventive is by coming from the soil, and we aim to know that a plant hasn't received enough water or fertilizers before the plant does. And that's what CropX is all about. Well, with that vision, we could have simply integrated a third-party soil sensor. They've been in the market for 30, 40 years, right? We didn't have to reinvent the wheel there. But actually, we had no choice because none of the existing solutions was scalable enough to be integrated into a big data platform. And what do I mean by that? If you look at these horror pictures of real off-the-shelf soil sensors, they require having a separate modem, gateway, power source, cables running around the field, and very complicated and lengthy installation and calibration processes that makes it impossible for a farmer to handle it on their own. And therefore, they become dependent on third-party providers, technicians, engineers. Now imagine 2020, no travel is allowed. How can you have to wait for an entire year for that technician to come visit your field and provide maintenance support for your hardware, right? So this was actually a huge advantage to CropX. Because of our do-it-yourself approach, we continued selling as usual. So we had no choice. We developed this sensor right here, and this is the best device in the world to collect soil data in a scalable, affordable, accurate manner. It takes 2 minutes to install. You stick it into the ground, you scan the QR code, and that's it. You can forget about the sensor for at least the entire season. No maintenance, no nothing. It's equipped with rechargeable lithium-ion batteries that last over a year, a SIM card so it can transmit the data directly to the cloud, a Bluetooth chip so you can download the data directly to your phone if there's no cellular network. We have a patent for our spiral design that allows us to be the most accurate soil sensor in the world. And we're the only, I know that we're talking about avocado, which is a relatively premium crop, but we also want to be relevant to the low value crops, the commodity crops, the corn and the soy. So we have a solution that is affordable to accommodate all types of crops. The way it works is that the sensor collects soil data, soil moisture, temperature, and EC transmits it to the cloud, where we automatically integrate all these above ground data layers, topography, crop models that we develop ourselves, weather data, satellite imagery, user input, soil maps, hydraulic models, and everything gets crunched in the cloud using very sophisticated machine learning algorithms and AI so that we can provide actionable insights, recommendations, and automations via the app. 1 more minute and I'm done, Lindy. Here's just one example.
We will have to wrap up for the next presenters. Thanks, Matan.
Sure. So just really less than 1 minute and I'm done. So what we can do with all of the data is just one example. This is alfalfa, pivot irrigated, divided it into pizza slices, and half of them we assumed control of the irrigation system. The other half was farmer standard practice, managed to deliver 10% more yield with 40% less water in 1 year. Many similar case studies for many different crop types, avocado included. Sorry that I don't have time to cover the currently developed nutrition management tools, but I'd be happy to present it on a one-to-one basis. In terms of deployment, started selling in 2017, expanded all over the world, tripled sales in 2020 during the COVID, deployed in 40 countries, leading company in the world in terms of real-time in-soil data points, 9,000 installations worldwide in 2020. By the end of 21, we aim to double that. And many thanks to you all for your attention.
Thank you indeed, Matan. We really appreciate you sharing that offering with us. It's fascinating how, like you say, we tend to forget that success is from the ground up, and to really understand and through data management in the soil is important. Just a quick answer to, as we've already gone into the next presenter's time, so we really need to be quick. You said it's DIY, it's affordable, it's easy, it can even be used without large-scale operations, so it's applicable for a smaller and even less niche product. But still, in some sense, we need, especially if it's less tech-oriented growers, and we need some post-sale or post-establishment service. Are you established in South Africa to offer that sort of service?
We are deployed in South Africa. We work with some big companies and small companies. The post-sale services that are required are very minimal, but of course we have a customer support team. The idea is that it's a plug and play, right? We have online videos, tutorials. It's super easy. The installation process, as I mentioned, takes a minute. The app, after 4 years after that we started selling, every year we develop, we upgrade the hardware and the software to make it more easy to use, there's really very simple to use that to any type of farmer.
Okay, it sounds very applicable. Thank you very much, Matan. And like you said, and this will be applicable to every presenter with every company details. We will have this information available to the listeners, and you can connect with each of the presenters afterwards with all your questions and details. So thanks a lot, Matan. I'd like to move on. Thanks. Let us move over to Safe Foods. Dan, are you ready to come in there for us? And please introduce yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, and we can see your screen. So please go ahead. Thanks, Dan.
So thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. I will try with my Belgium and Israeli accent. My Dutch is not that good anymore. To present you with Safe Foods. I'm the CEO of the company, and I suggest let's dive in. Okay. Okay, so Safe Food is developing and marketing a proprietary blend of natural food acids that is used to protect but also extend the shelf life for fruits and vegetables. Now, all of the ingredients of our blend are recognized as safe by the FDA, and they do not leave any toxicological residues on the treated fruit, which allow us to achieve a really fast market penetration. It's like using the inside to protect the outside. And our products are designed also to control fungi like molds, which are responsible for fruits and vegetables decay, but are also designed to control the foodborne pathogens, like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria, which are responsible for the food poisoning and the food recalls. Now, today, as you might know, most of the packers, they have no choice, but they have to treat the fruits and vegetables with fungicide to protect them, to protect their fruits or their vegetables from all these pathogens. And as you know, the problem is that these fungicides, they leave residues that seems to have a negative impact on our health, but also on the environment. Now, to have the most impact on the product shelf life, we have decided to address first the treatment of fruits and vegetables in the packing house. And let me give you a quick overview of what we have done so far in the last 12 months. So within the last year, we have treated over 100,000 tons of fruits together with leading packing house and service providers in the US, Mexico, Spain, and Israel. And the fruits that are treated with Safe Foods are already in the market. We are now implementing our product in one of the leading avocado packer in Israel, and also validating the extended shelf life of our products on avocado with one of the leading and one of the largest, I would say, food retailers in the US. And we can already say that based on all the different commercial pilots we did recently, our products, they are reducing by 50% on average the rotten fruit at the retail level. So here you can see what our products look like. It's a liquid that is applied using the existing equipment like the sprayers and the water tanks that are used in the packing house. And this is very important because it allows us to have a quick and very easy implementation. But I think these pictures and the pictures on the following side will do most of the job because they will summarizing some of the benefits our products have. So on the right side, you can see the product and the fruits, that were treated with Safe Foods. And on the left side, the fruits that were treated with the existing product available on the market. And as you can see here, our fruits stay fresher for longer. But let me take you, we're talking about avocado, so let me take you to a recent semi-commercial pilot that we have performed in collaboration with a leading avocado packer in Israel on Hass Avocado. And as you can see here, after 24 days in cold storage and 7 days at room temperature, the avocado treated with Safe Foods show a much better shelf life, while also keeping the texture and the great taste of the Hass avocado. Now, in terms of numbers, what does it mean? We can say that Safe Foods product show a 40% less decay compared to the current treatment. By the way, all the ingredients could be used also in the organic industry. So we are in the middle of the process to be recognized by OMRI in the United States. So I hope soon will be available also for the organic industry. This is almost the last slide, but just to show you that our product, they also show a great synergy with the existing fungicide like fluodoxinil, which is one of the fungicide used in the avocado industry. In this trial performed with Dr. Noam Elkan, which is an Israeli key opinion leader in mango and avocado, he showed that by combining seafood products with 75% less fluorodeoxynyl that is used today in the industry, we could reach a complete elimination of decay, like 100% of fluorodeoxynyl. So this is it. To summarize, seafood is a natural and green product that's allowed the packing house to ensure a high quality produce, but also meeting the new regulatory trends of zero pesticide and zero foodborne pathogen. And of course, benefits also the food retailers by reducing their waste, meeting their sustainability commitment, but also increasing their revenue. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Excellent, Dan. Thank you so much for that. There is this ongoing struggle between reducing food waste and presenting better quality food for the end customer versus the pressure and that we find from retailers and regulators on reducing MRLs and even going to reduce all chemical use. So this sounds like a very good alternative to chemical use. But is this product registered for use in South Africa, as well as for our major offtake, particularly for the avocado industry, our major offtake in Europe? Is this product registered to be used there?
So there's no problem to use the product in Europe. So you can actually use it in South Africa and use it in Europe. We already, registered in Mexico, where because of the fact that all the ingredients are recognized as safe, there's no need for a special registration, which allow us, again, as I mentioned, a fast implementation. So it's used in Mexico, which is shipping to Europe as well. We're in regulatory registration in California and other places in the US, also in Spain, and in South Africa is something we are looking into now. But as far as we know, we do not expect, to have a very long or specific registration to be made using the fact that everything is natural. So I would say that we will be able to deploy our technology in South Africa very soon. And in terms of what you discussed about the MRLs, so definitely, today in Israel and in Mexico, in the US, but especially in Israel, some of the packing house here are using our technology, not on an organic way, but definitely as they called a zero residues line, so they can send and ship their product in Europe, and they have a really big advantage from their compared to their competition, right? Because the MRL is very, very low or non-existent when they're not using any fungicide on the line.
This sounds really like a good step forward, because the quest for alternative to chemicals is ongoing. So thank you very much. Very good work there. And we look forward to seeing the application of safe foods here in South Africa. Thanks a lot, Dan.
To it. Thank you very much.
So next we've got from C-Tree, we've got Alex. Alex, are you ready to jump in there?
Yes, sure.
I think, Dan, if you can just stop sharing at your end so that Alex can go over into sharing.
You should be able to join in. I don't want to.
There we go. Thank you,
Okay.
Alex. We can
Can
see your
you see my
presentation.
screen?
We can.
Okay. Perfect. So hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexander. I'm a South Africa project manager in C-Tree. We started our South African experience about 1 year ago with 2 small trials on citrus trees. And today we have commercial contracts of annual service for more than 6,000 hectares of orchards, planning at least to double it within the next 12 months. And as I said, we started with only citrus, but today we start working also with macadamias, mangoes, and surely with avocados. So what are we doing and what makes us different from other companies in the market of agricultural digital services? It's pretty simple. We are analyzing the trees. We identify each and every tree in customer's property, study it, measure, analyze, then combine trees into blocks and orchards into farms, and provide the farmer with multi-layered data collection and analysis platform with resolution up to each single tree. So how digitization going? We shoot the farm from the drones from several altitudes with different sensors and create a digital map of the orchards where we identify canopy polygons and assign a unique digital name to each and every tree. Then we analyze the tree and fill it with digital unit with a range of information that could be then analyzed and reviewed with any desired resolution from a single tree to cluster, block, orchard, farm, or entire business. To reach this level of expertise, we use three main layers of data collection in different combinations. So first of all, we use drones. These are military-grade drones with high-resolution multispectral and RGB cameras. We shoot the farm from different altitudes, as I already told you, digitizing the orchards and analyze the data with combination of artificial and human intelligence using our own methodologies and know-how. The second way is ground vehicle. So for this way of analysis, we have specially developed ground vehicle carrying cameras of different types to get those insights that are not possible to get from the air. And surely the last one, and one of the most important, is boots on the ground. So we collaborate data received from other sources. We visit every problematic or just interesting cluster, trying to understand root cause of the problem or study the phenomenon that we can see from the air. We take samples and widen our knowledge and farmers' awareness about what's happening in the orchard. So for the analysis, we use high-resolution RGB and multispectral cameras that allow us to identify combinations of wavelengths in order to recognize symptoms that couldn't be seen with naked eyes. We got used to working with widely well-known indexes like NDVI, and also we use our specifically developed combinations of wavelengths that allow us to measure chlorophyll, water content, vegetation, look deeper inside the trees and recognize different digital signatures of various deficiencies, diseases, weeds, or whatever else could appear in the world of trees. So for defining the health of each tree, we've developed a common so-called C-tree language that let us assign to each tree a certain score from 5 to 0 that represents its health condition, where 5 and 4 are considered to be healthy, 5 is absolutely healthy, 4 could show some small problems. 3 and 2 are underperforming trees, 1 and 0 are non-producing, where 0 is just an empty spot after the tree, and 6 that represents a young non-bearing tree. So basically, this is the main initial layer, the layer of tree health. This is how it looks on the farm level. This is how it looks on the tree level. And on top of this basic level, we add a lot of different additional layers. So for example, here I have a layer of tree height. So here we can see the distribution of tree heights of different categories of tree heights. And if we zoom in, we can see height of each and every tree in the grove or in the block. This is applicable also for any other layers that are available, and we have available on top of tree height, we have available canopy area, canopy volume, weeds, free area that represents the area in between of the rows, then bindweeds and some other things that are very important for understanding and planning the farming operations. For young non-bearing orchards, we have specific tools to monitor the growth process over times. We also work on the integration of irrigation system layers, daily and weekly changes in orchards monitored by satellites, weather monitoring and forecasting, fruit sampling digitization to accurately forecast the yield, and more. Here is one of the examples. So this is a bindweeds issue we identified in Brazil first and then in South Africa as well. We thought, like you see, the trees are covered with bindweeds that prevent tree penetrate and photosynthesis. So we taught artificial intelligence how to identify the digital signature of this problem, and then turned it into the report, into the layer that appeared to be one of the common layers that we are now offering in the basic package. So finally, the data will be available on the system as digital map with numerous features, reports, dashboards, and maybe data files, with the main intention to provide the farmer or agronomist, maybe farm manager or business owner, with actionable data, results, and clear insights that become the basis for daily farm operations and strategic and tactical decision making. The system is available as a desktop application with specific features for those who spend their working hours in the office in front of the laptop, and mobile scouting tool for those who fulfill their tasks and missions in the field. And just one more sentence about the company itself. So we're an Israeli company with headquarters in Tel Aviv and about 150 people employed all over the world. Currently, we analyze 8 different crops: avocados, all types of citrus, almonds, olives, pistachios, macadamias, hazelnuts, and mangoes, covering over 60,000 hectares all over the world and 35 million trees in the United States, Brazil, Mexico, Portugal, and South Africa. And we daily collect about 1.5 terabyte of data. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. This is very important understanding of how we tend to make a reference from we shouldn't be managing our orchards per hectare or per block, but we should be managing per tree. And this technology enables us to do that. A question that I have, and this is referring to the South African context, but since we have some participants here from Kenya, it's also relevant to them. I see you do have trials here in South Africa, so you might have overcome this challenge, but in many of the rural areas where our orchards and production are based, we don't have signal and connectivity as we have typical in the cities. For this data-driven technology, is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem. So I would say initially that was a problem, because we really faced the situation when we appear in the field and we can't do anything because of lack of the signal. And that triggered the process. So we developed inside our mobile scouting application, the field offline mode that allows us to download all the necessary information before going to the field, and then upload back all the information collected in the field back to the whole system. The process is very simple and it perfectly works. And our South African customers have already enjoyed using that. So currently this is not a problem.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. And we'll have to cut it there to move on to the next grower. Thank you for that input. So the next company, not grower, the next company that we have here, perhaps if we can, we've got their screen shared. If we can stop sharing the screen. Agroculture is the company's name. Lior, if you can share your screen with us and come in here for us. Thank you, Lior. We can see your presentation.
Okay, can you hear me well?
There we can hear you as well.
Yeah, great. So thank you very much for inviting me for this talk. My name is Lior Rubinovich. I'm a PI at Migal Northern R&D Research Institute. And I'm also a founder of Agroculture, which is Migal's startup spin-off company. And I will talk about the avocado rootstock tissue culture system. So I don't have to present you the avocado industry, but I just want to note that about 15 million avocado plants are planted each year. And the problem is that the propagation rate is the main bottleneck for this industry, which limits the rapid expansion of this industry. And also pathogen infections lead to plant loss in the orchards. For example, in Israel, the plant loss rate is about between 10 to 15%, which is a lot. So currently, there are, of course, all commercial avocado trees are grafted, and there are two major methods to produce the rootstock. First is the seedling rootstock, and the second is the clonal rootstock, or the VC rootstock, using the double grafting methods. So in agriculture, we have developed a cost-effective tissue culture production method to produce elite varieties of avocado. And there are several advantages for this method. First of all, the plants are pathogen-free and are genetically homogeneous. To produce them, it takes less time, and the production is repeatable and independent from the environment, and the supply can be year-round. So in the literature, we have examples, several studies regarding the rooting of avocado rootstock, but until now, just only few commercial companies are putting efforts in developing this technique to establish a rooting protocol for rootstocks, but none of which are already commercial. So this is the phases to establish the rooting protocol in the rootstocks, and I will show you our results. So you can see here the initial explant, the sterile explant, and you can see the development of the shoot, and afterwards, the development and the establishment of the root. This whole process takes about only 90 days. This is in the Chile rootstock. You can see the hardening protocol. The outcome is a well-developed plant, and you can see here the mature plant with the really nice roots. We also developed a protocol for rooting the DUSA rootstock. DUSA rootstock is a well-commercialized rootstock, which was developed, of course, by Westphalia. And you can see the process and the rooting after 90 days. You can see here the developed plant following the hardening protocol. We also have initial protocols for additional rootstocks, VC rootstocks, as you can see here, and an initial protocol for micro cuttings, which allows us to increase the propagation rate. We also have initial protocol to sterilize and to develop the scion, the Haas. And you can see here this sterile Haas, which is grafted in vitro on the rooted DUSA rootstock. So this is our R&D plan for the next 2 years, and thank you for listening.
Excellent, thank you, Lior, and thank you. This was short and concise, explaining the excellent technology development at your end. Lior, briefly, see, in South Africa, a couple of years ago, we were planting about 1,000 hectares of avocados. More recently, it's more in the vicinity of 600 hectares. And in my view, it could be double that, because the race for trees and the demand for trees is keeping us back. You mentioned that this technology is not yet commercially available. Do you think this is in the time frame of what we need for trees and the demand for expanded plantings? Do you think this will be soon enough to be a solution for the problem or the stumbling block that we have in South Africa?
Okay, so I think nowadays there are two products all over the world which are hard to achieve. First is the Sony PlayStation 5, and the second one is the avocado trees. Okay, it takes about 3 years to get them in the nurseries.
And the kids like both of them equally.
Yeah, I'm not sure who is more favorable, but the protocol we established is a commercial protocol. I have to say, we're not currently producing, as we are a startup company. and we're currently looking for investors in order to scale up our efforts. So the technology is commercially available nowadays. So
Okay,
it
thank you.
can
That makes
reduce the
sense.
bottleneck.
Yeah, thank you. That makes sense, and I'm convinced that there would be many of the nurseries in South Africa that will be in contact with you to understand more and pick up on that conversation. Leo, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm going to move over last and most certainly not least of the companies that we have presenting today. Lilach, also a beautiful lady there that can explain to us the offering and tech offering from Saturas. Lilach, are you ready to share your screen for us?
Definitely. Hello, Lindy, and thank you for the invitation to present on this excellent webinar. Thank you also, Charmaine and the team for this invitation. Can you see my screen properly?
Yes, we can see your screen and we can hear you, so please, you can go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So I will shortly explain to you what is Saturas entry intelligence. What does it actually mean? So we all know that water is life, and especially for us coming from an arid country, using water efficiently is a daily mission. And it is actually the same for farmers all around the globe. They have to use water efficiently, more responsibly, to get better quality, more yield with less resources. So in order to avoid irrigation from being a guessing game, we are witnessing the plant sensing evolution. So we are moving from very traditional methods to very popular ones, to into up-to-date, very advanced technologies. Some have even been presented earlier today by Matan. And that is definitely the plant sensing evolution that we in Saturas are part of. But we are also a plant sensing revolution. We are actually the only commercial company today to provide the farmer with direct water status data from within the tree itself. So we are listening to the tree from within, as opposed to other technologies, which are honestly all very interesting and great. They are all sensing the surrounding of the plant, while we are actually in direct contact with the xylem tissue, providing the most direct data about water status of the plant. So our technology is based on a concept that is called stem water potential. It has actually been developed for over 50 years. There's a wide base of irrigation protocols that are based on these stem water potential recommendations. It is considered in our sector as the gold standard for determining the water stress of the plants today. So the only way to get this very valuable and precious parameter up until today was by using this manual device that you can see here on my screen. It is this suitcase that is called the pressure chamber or the pressure bomb. And well, you can ask yourself, if it's so great, how is it not commercially popular? Well, there are many reasons for that. First of all, it's manual and very complicated to operate. It cannot really be scaled. It gives you only sporadic testing. It's not continuous, very labor intensive. And so at the end, it remains in the realms of scientific institutions and researchers. On the other hand, today you have the entry monitor of Saturas that gives you the exact same parameters, stem water potential. However, it is digital, automatic, and sends you the data directly to your cellular, to your laptop. And so it can be easily scaled and already commercial. Of course, the advantages are many. There can be different advantages for different crops. We have a long list of crops, orchards that we work in, from optimizing water use to better quality, higher yields, and of course, in general, healthier trees. Sorry. So our user platform is very friendly and intuitive. We also provide the weather data, the map of the deployment of our sensor, and the daily stem water potential value for the plot, the average. You can also analyze and review the trend of your plot with our graphs. You have a daily measurement of stand water potential. You can see whether you are within the recommendation of stand water potential. If you are above it, below it, you can add evapotranspiration data, as well as your irrigation data and rainfall, etc. Many other parameters that are relevant for taking the irrigation decision. So to conclude shortly, what we do in Saturas is actually listening to the trees from within in order to give the farmer the most accurate and direct water status to make the best irrigation decision possible. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lilach. You explained it very clearly, and there's one part that is it's eye-opening for me, and I was always told a good grower should talk to its trees, and but now we also understand they need to listen to their trees. So that's very good advice. Lilach, I do want to ask, there's similar to one of the previous questions I had. This is also data-driven and web-based. Is this a problem in areas with little connectivity, especially like what we experience in certain rural areas in South Africa?
Basically, what you need, the sensors and their transmitters don't need electricity. They operate on batteries, so that is not an issue. But each communication hub that could be connected to hundreds of sensors does need electricity. So it can be supplied either directly or with a solar panel. So that is also a very comfortable solution that we use. And internet. So it could be either by direct Ethernet cable if possible, if not with a SIM card. So yes, there is a certain level of connectivity that is necessary, but we operate in many territories around the world, and so far we've managed to overcome any challenge that we face. So we keep improving, and technologies keep improving. At the moment, it is not an issue for us.
Thank you very much, Lilach. This sounds very
Lindy.
good technology.
Thank you.
So I want to move over to the Q&A for this session. Now, before I do so, I want to ask people to either raise your hand. We've got the technology to bring you in if necessary. Otherwise, state a question there in the Q&A box where we will deal with it. So just firstly, for each one of the presenters, thank you so much. I dial into many webinars, sometimes more and less applicable to me, and around 10 to 15 minutes in, I drop off because I'm bored. And I have noticed here the participants have not reduced by a single person. So this was really, all the offerings was very interesting. The engagement that the people are having from what you presented are therefore really speaking for itself and very good. So I just want to look at a few questions that we have here, which we can speak to some of them directed, some of them not. So I can only pick up some of the questions from the Q&A board that was directed to somebody. So here, perhaps to Alex, is your C-tree system be able to monitor from abroad, or must it be on site? Alex, can you answer to that one?
Yes, sure, and thank you for the question. So for monitoring the farm, we do not need to install any kind of equipment on the farm. The only thing we need is to come and to shoot. It usually takes about 1 day to shoot about 200 hectares for one of our teams. So if the property is 1,000 hectares, it will take either 5 days or 2.5 days for two teams. So once again, no specific equipment should be installed there. We should just come and shoot. All the following processes and information will be received online through web application, mobile application, and that's valid.
Okay, thank you very much. We've got a question from Stefani Perel here, and this is to Matan, I assume, from CropX. The question is, any plans to expand to an even smaller probe that can measure 10 centimeters? Matan, can you come in here to...
Sure. Currently, there are no. To have a very small sensor that could be fit into a very small space. This is not currently under the roadmap. We have already started developing the hardware roadmaps for 2022. We have all kinds of exciting plans that I still cannot share.
Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you very much, Matan. We've got a question here for Lilach from Saturas. Lilach, can you give an idea about price for the in-tree water potential kit?
I'll be happy to provide an offer privately, but before we deliver an offer, we obviously do a planning session with the farmer. We need to understand his needs, the parameters of the farm, in order to give, our idea is not just to throw as many sensors as possible. We want to give real values. And at the end of the day, you have one irrigation valve for a block. So there is a minimum that we usually recommend of 3 sensors per block, not less, to get a good representative average per block. But it really depends on the parameters and different aspects of the block. So I'll be happy to deliver a specific offer privately later on.
Okay, excellent. Yes, that makes absolutely sense. While I have you there, Lilach, there's a question for the Digi in-tree sensor. Is it limited to hard bulb trees?
At the moment, we only install and operate on orchards. So the minimum size of diameter of trunk should be at least 30 millimeters. But other than that, we work on a very long list of crops from nut trees, citrus, avocado, stone fruits, etc., wine grapes, obviously. So yeah, there's a long list of crops, and hopefully in the future we will enter other field crops and smaller crops.
Excellent. So Jacques Landman is asking you, Lilach, again for you. You're in high demand here, it seems.
Great.
Is asking, how many sensors do you put up per hectare on average?
So again, it's part of the planning of the installation, of the deployment. It depends on the size of the plot and the variability. So for a very uniform large irrigation block, we could theoretically install less sensors, and on the other hand, on a small, very ununiform plot, we will probably recommend to put a bit more sensors. So it goes somewhere between 1 sensor per 2-3 hectares to 1 sensor per 4-5 hectares for very uniform plots.
Thank you very much. So here's another question directed to Lior. Can the protocol for clonal rootstock production and in vitro grafting be made available? That's the question.
It is available for us, but not for the public, as the technology is under a trade secret IP. So we cannot reveal it, of course.
Okay, thank you, Lior, for that. Now, for Dan, we've got a question from Babita. How to procure the safe foods for trials? Can you elaborate a little bit on that question? They want to know how they can procure this for trials here, perhaps in South Africa or at a pack house locally.
So basically, it would be best to connect offline, but it's pretty easy once we understand the workflow of the packing house and how it works, what type of product you're using. We have some collaborators in South Africa where we ship the product, and we can very easy do a trial. It's very simple.
Okay, so I think best is, since your contact details will be made available, that people interested in it may contact with you. And I think this applies to all our presenters, may contact, discuss, and see for quotations that's specific, or even just solutions and discussions specific to your particular environment, size, crop, etc. One question here, Ari from Jacqueline Salzia, the 14-hour course on avocados, and I see there's also Babita's also asking the same question related to that. Are these courses free of charge? And how do we go about, if not, is there any source of funding for these courses? I'm throwing a second question on that, on top of that one.
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, very good question. At the moment, we're trying to organize funding for the courses, of course. Again, that's a question that they can send in to me. But that is the plan to try and see if we can get some sponsorship or participation, at least a little bit of participation for these particular courses. They are professional and they are upper level. So again, that's in the works. And as far as when and where when it's going to take place. We're still working on the details on that, but hopefully not too long into the future. We're excited. We want to get this going, and hopefully very, very shortly. So send me the emails, tell me that you're interested, and sooner the better.
Thank you, Ari. That's so. The situation is usually underestimated when we are in an international environment. That well, it's stronger now, but generally weak exchange rate. International courses are really expensive for South Africans. So being affordable and accessible for South Africans would make a very big difference. So thanks for that. I see I've missed
Lindy, absolutely. Sorry, I just wanted to add something.
No, please.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, the exchange rate with the rand to dollar and so forth and so on, it can be very, very prohibitive as far as any capacity building, any professional development. So again, we're working on that and want to be in a position where we can offer it at really, really realistic price levels. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I missed a question here, Dan, so I'm going to take it back to you. Your products, do you ship the safe food products, or perhaps should I say, is it registered for use and accessible to use in countries like Mauritius, Kenya, which also covers some of our audience?
So it's not registered in this specific location. Definitely we could look into it, again, because the fact that they're recognized by the FDA as safe. Some of the countries like Mexico or other countries do not recognize that, and they do not ask for specific registration. Again, it's all natural product, and therefore it's kind of might be very easy to register. We need to look into it, and definitely, yeah, we can ship the product everywhere. We have partners that's production site in Israel and in Europe and also in the US.
Okay, fantastic. I think the most important here, again, is for our listeners from other parts of the continent, or in that case, any part from the world, make contact with you. I'm sure you've been through the process of getting your products into different countries, so we can look into how to make that work. So that will get very good. We don't have, unless I've missed a question here, Charmaine, I don't know if you've noticed a question that I might have missed. While you look at it and perhaps give a last opportunity for participants to send us another question if you want. I've got a question about size. Now, typical in South Africa, we have some handful or two very big commercial export-oriented growers, but we also have various small to medium growers. This technology sometimes seems to be complex and too high-tech if you don't have the scale to justify it. Can I have some input? And I'm not going to throw it out there. I want some of you to opt to speak to the affordability and applicability for the small to medium grower. If I don't have a hand up, I'm going to put you on the spot. So if any of you can answer a little bit on that. Please, Matan, if you can go ahead and speak to that.
Sure, that is a great point that prevents a lot of great solutions to be accessible to many types of farmers, many types of crops, many geographies. I'll give another example. A corn grower in the US makes a net profit of about $100 per acre per year. You can understand that if a technology costs $50 or sometimes even $85 per acre, it doesn't make any sense for that farmer to even consider investing in such technologies. So one of the advantages of our product is that you can always start with one system and gradually scale up in order to get more accuracy. So you start by having one system and trying kind of to complete the picture with above ground and models and predictive models. But then if you want to have a little bit more accuracy to do variable rate irrigation and fertilization, then you can slowly put more sensors as you want. So that is a great question.
Thank you very much. Alex, can I ask your input on that and from your point of view from C3, if how you see the affordability and adaptability for small to medium growers?
Thank you, Lindy. That's really important questions because especially looking at South African market, we see that very big portion of the farmers are not big farmers. Yeah, they own 100 or 200 hectares, and they should. For them, it's much more complicated to go for high-tech new solutions. So we in C3 try to offer to each and every customer a specific ROI, return on investments program that will become a KPI. Yeah, in case if we see that the improvement helps farmer to earn more, then proportionally we receive our payment. If we see that the farmer can't reach the targeted revenues, then we decrease the price and not squeeze the farmer, not leave him without money. So that's our approach. So if the farmer earns more, we are earning. If the farmer doesn't see any value, then we also give it for free.
Excellent. That sounds fantastic. Thank you very much. We are nearing the end of our time slot and time allocation for this webinar. I do not see any further questions being asked. I assume that people will reserve their questions for the respective presenter and company in person afterwards, either through an email or a call. To emphasize the information, the presentations, this recorded session, as well as the contact details will be available. If you have any difficulty obtaining it, don't hesitate to contact Charmaine, but it is on the website which you can access. Before I close, are there anyone that wants to, a burning point that you, within a few seconds, wants to share with us, any of the presenters?
I just wanted to add regarding your last question, regarding the adaptability of the technology. So since we are not providing any sophisticated algorithms that need to be translated by the farmer, it's a very simple, straightforward value that you can decide, take your irrigation decision upon. So even people that are not very tech savvy, you have a recommendation, you have the graph, and you can see if you are within it and take your make your strategy based on that. So just wanted to complete that part of the question.
Thank you, Lilach. I appreciate that. And something that you just said there is actually a very good point to end with. Very few growers, whether it's avocado growers, whether it's big growers, small growers, beyond, really have a technology strategy. Very few have a technology strategy. Very few people really incorporated this into their discussion when they look into their budget discussion. And with all of this information, no matter your size, find out about these sort of offering. What is the options? What is the affordability? What's the ROI on that technology investment? And I really want to urge growers to look more into that, because this is really the way forward. For success, we're going to depend on technology and advances like this. So with that, I'd like to close our session. We have now to the end lost a few participants, and so this is really successful if you look at the numbers. Thank you very much for everybody's input. A special thanks to Amit and Frederica for your inputs and providing a platform like this to bring this business to business opportunities. and then especially Charmaine and Madeleine from Vetlink. Thanks for all the hard work behind the scenes to realize this, and also this, for us, this is the end. For them, this continues because it's sharing of information, all of this fantastic work being done there. And thank you very much for everybody who posed questions, participate in the conversation. Appreciate it, and please take the opportunity here to engage with the presenters afterwards. And to each of the presenters, I don't want to go name everyone, but thank you very much for your input here today. And with that, thanks and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.